Well, for more on the China International Import Expo this year, let's bring in Carl Fey. He is a professor in the Department of Strategy and Entrepreneurship at the BI Norwegian Business School in Oslo. Carl, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. And you're actually attending the event. I kind of want to get your take on it. Have you been there before? And what do you think of it as you kind of get grounded there?
So yes, I'm in Shanghai at the event. I come to China about 5 times a year, so I'm often in China, but this is actually my first time here. And as a part of this large event, which is actually attracting about 450,000 visitors this year from 155 countries that are displaying their goods here. And actually we have about 290 of the Fortune 500 companies represented. So it's a big event. But there's also a sub-forum here for senior executives and government officials called the Hongqiao Forum, and I'll be talking there later today.
Give me your take. How is it unfolding, and especially with all the challenges, the 8th year, and certainly a very difficult year with the trade tensions globally, especially between the United States and China. What's your overall takeaway?
So, I think when there are challenges, it's even more important, rather than less important, to have dialogue and talk. So this is a great initiative. Most countries have fairs like this to help export the products they have from their country, but this is fairly unique in being a fair to help import products from other countries. One of the things that's caught my attention this year is a big focus on importing services. Premier Li, for example, was talking about this in his opening remarks yesterday at the opening session. It turns out that China has actually come up with a system that they have 155 different pilot programs to try to help increase service trade with China. So they, for example, have now allowed that app stores don't have to be, there are no limits on foreign ownership of that. Doctors can practice without getting a Chinese license if they're a foreign doctor for a short period of time. That in insurance and in pension funds, you're able to come in here. So they're really working on that. And, a lot of parts of the world have trade surpluses with China, including the US and the EU. The EU, for example, has a trade surplus last year of $21.7 billion. And so I think China sort of recognized, okay, we're not as good in services as some other places. Let's let countries specialize in what they're good in and leverage that.
Okay, beyond the services, I'm kind of also curious your take as Trump's tariffs really begin to take hold. How important are the international markets, and not just with the global South, but as you mentioned, with the EU and beyond?
China's economy is slowing down a bit. I think a lot of the international press maybe exaggerates a little bit on how much that's happening. We're talking about, is it going to be 5%, 4.5%, 4%? Still, most countries in the world would be dreaming if they could be at those rates. So the international markets are really important for Chinese companies. There's no question about it. But China also appreciates having, foreign companies, and especially the Chinese people appreciate having foreign companies come in here. Products from, for example, the US and, for example, Norway, where I'm based, are really highly valued here, still have a sort of a prestige. And so there's, high wish to have more imports as well. One thing that is interesting is with the Trump tariffs, this has, of course, created a big shock for sort of everyone in the world. A lot of foreign companies were trying to move out of China for their production as a result, for example, to Vietnam and other places in Southeast Asia. But both tariffs became a little higher in some of these countries than was anticipated, especially when importing into the US. But in addition, I think many companies discovered that it's not just a matter of finding a supplier or someone, to produce something, but it's the whole ecosystem and it's the whole sort of work ethic which have been developed that are really good in China. So quite a few companies have moved their production back to China, or other companies not moved out that were deciding to. So there's quite a bit of talk about that here this year as well.
And you did talk about the imports, how important that is to all this. So many nations focusing only on exports, and China has been trying to get its population to do more purchasing from within. Are you seeing that, and how important is that going to be moving forward the next 6 months to a year?
So as you probably know, there's just recently been preliminary discussions by the Chinese government about what's called the 15th five-year plan, which is sort of the vision for what's going to happen over the next 5 years. And an important part of that is stimulating increased purchasing by the Chinese citizens who actually have a tendency to want to save quite a bit of money. Probably the biggest shock to the Chinese economy over the last couple of years has been a real slowdown in the real estate market and some significant problems, very significant devaluation of property. And so this, because the stock market hasn't been so fluid here, people have tended to invest very, very heavily in the real estate, much more than, for example, in the US or the EU. As a result, people are sort of concerned as they see, significant shrinking in the value of their housing. And as a result, this has created a little problem of confidence in purchasing. So I think this is the real challenge that the government needs to address over the coming years, and they're trying to do some things for that, and I think we're going to see some progress in the area. The question is how much and how fast.
Yeah, Carl, I apologize, we don't have a lot of time left, but I really want to get your take on what sectors, what products, what categories are spotlighted and really hot this year right now.
I think the two things that really stand out to me are the silver economy. China has an aging population, and that is not something that's had a lot of attention traditionally in China, where families have been taking care of older people. Here, big focus on that. Another thing is agriculture. Lots of different talk in agriculture, whether that's pork from Belgium or that's salmon from Norway, where I'm based. And Chinese seem to really like the sort of focus on quality, very environmentally friendly food. So I think these are two areas that are standing out to me.